Vampire Survivors is a dopamine hit like walking on the sidewalk trying to avoid the lines. Because if you think about it, Vampire Survivors really is just a bunch of lines that tell you where you can and can't step. Now that Vampire Survivors has launched in 1.0, I don't know, guys, we might not need to make any more video games. Like, this one's really good, y'all. I mean, they made a challenging, exhilarating, deeply customizable, beautiful looking and sounding game where your primary mechanic is moving. It's the kind of game that's so simple yet so deep, it'll trick you into thinking making games is easy. If somehow you don't already know about Vampire Survivors, it's a reverse bullet hell roguelike where you survive against increasingly overwhelming hordes of monsters while gathering XP, speccing out your character with a variety of auto-attacking weapons, and augments to those weapons and your stats. Like many, I learned about this game from Northern Ryan, back when it was in early access and I paid $3 for it. And at that time, I thought the game was a monumental amount of content for that price. My friends and I tunnel visioned the absolute fuck out of this game for like 2 days straight. I got all the achievements at the time and won at least one run with every upgradable weapon. Then I put it down for a while, awaiting this moment. With the launch of 1.0, they have upped the cost to $5.
What? Are you crazy?
Which is like a fourth of what this game should cost, because they've added like 5 times the content of what was there in early access. Seriously, I booted the game back up after the update, and there were like 5 new stages I'd never seen before, and 2 new characters. I had a winning run with the homie Pasqualina, and got 11 achievements, which then unlocked even more characters and stages and modifiers. It's a game that's always rewarding you for engaging with it. I haven't unlocked anywhere close to everything, but very often, the way to unlock something new is to succeed with something you haven't tried yet. I've played like 10 hours since the 1.0 launch, and I'm so impressed with how many times I've said, "What is that?" or "What is happening?" out loud. There's some seriously insane and memorable gaming moments hidden in here without a single line of dialogue. The music has also been run through the Plus Ultra machine. Cause on the scale from destroying the system but I am the system, psycho LSD nightmare, my brain is half drugs and metal, to would feel no embarrassment playing this with my parents in the car, the early access tracks fell in the range of would pause my YouTube video to listen while playing. Not bad at all, but now it's like this. I know you see what I'm saying. The early access tracks are certainly good, but that second track I played is called Red and Blue, and every second is better than the last. I feel like the decision to record live instruments really adds like a humanizing element that implies this importance to your 8-bit character's actions. Hearing a track like that helps me believe that there's a specific reason why Clarice is fighting these monsters right here, right now. In general, I'm a big fan of the Gothic, Baroque, like Roman Catholicism type aesthetic and imagery. I know those are all different things, but I think they share like this dark grandiosity that goes hard in games. This is likely why Gallo Tower quickly became my new favorite stage. It just feels like a lot of the characters are meant to be fighting here. This game has everything. It's got the curry from Smash Brothers. It has a funny dog character. It has a stage called the Bone Zone. It has a secret character that it took 4 people in a Discord to help me unlock. And it's got an unskippable chest opening animation that you wouldn't want to skip anyways. You wouldn't. You don't. You don't want to skip it. You just think you do, but you don't. They wouldn't make it unskippable if you didn't want to see it. That's why you can't skip it, because they know. And the difficulty options really are all in your hands. If you want to buy the curse upgrade that increases enemy numbers and gives them more health, go for it. In fact, go ahead and pair that with the character that has that curse multiplier built into how she levels. Oh, you want to run it like that and then set it so you can only carry one weapon? Hell yeah, it's your funeral, wear what you want. Alternatively, if you want to use arcanas and items to give yourself like 4 revives every run, you can do that too. There's such a variety of emotions that cycle through me while playing this game. You really can go from feeling balanced to weak to untouchable, back to average, then helpless, then relieved, all in the span of 30 minutes. I love the moments in the late game where there are just so many enemies on screen that the only way to know where to move next is to just pay attention to the space that your weapons are creating. Oh yeah, and I would highly recommend playing this game with a controller unless you are explicitly going for the carpal tunnel build. It might seem appealing at first, but that build falls off hard, if I'm honest. That's why I really love the weapons that attack in a consistent pattern. Every weapon is very good and useful, but I think that the whip, the King Bible, and the axe especially, when they are pack-a-punched, cream of the crop. Initially, I slept on the whip hard, because it's the default weapon for one of the starting guys, Antonio, and it only attacks above him and to the sides. So when you play him for the first time on the forest map, where enemies are coming from all sides and you've got to reposition to hit them, he can feel kind of awkward and niche compared to the other starter, Imelda, who has the magic wand, which just auto-attacks the nearest enemy. Way more straightforward, right? And not to say that the magic wand is bad, because it's not, but in the late game, and especially on the vertically oriented map, knowing that solid damage is going out in the same place consistently is very helpful when making split-second decisions about where to move next. The Bible and axe are a bit more straightforward, because the former is just hitboxes circling around you, and the latter works kind of the opposite to the whip, where it launches the axes slightly upward and then they fall down and pass through enemies. But this downward vertical damage is way less reliable in terms of its positioning than the whip, but when you pack-a-punch it, dude, it's straight broken. Like, just a blossom of scythes that push and go through enemies. Insane. For real. Most maps, you pair these 3 weapons with anything, like Rune Tracer, Santa Water, your favorite thing, and you have officially unlocked Standstill meta. The most fun I've ever had not playing a game. Just one of many experiences that have earned Vampire Survivors the big OP. It's incredible how these experiences made by a small team or even one person are loudly celebrated in the gaming community, while AAA think tanks and shareholders have seemingly never spoken to a member of their target audience before. I think that everyone knows that the best games being made right now are in the indie scene, like that's not a hot take. So here's another cool indie game. This is Aero GPX. This game even has advanced tech with developer tutorials that I needed. I did learn how to do this insane spin dive move though. One of the most mechanically satisfying things I've done in a game. On the maps where you can pull off a lot of them, I heavily prioritize spin diving over winning the race. I learned about this game from Twitter, which is still mind-blowing to me. It's just another example of how people all over the world you've never heard of are making dope shit. This solo dev is channeling the spirit of the long-dead F-Zero franchise that not even Nintendo wants to touch. Which is super exciting, because I didn't get into those games until I was older, and specifically F-Zero GX is pretty frickin' GX. When you're locked in and just having a great race, it feels like you're driving a roller coaster. And, would you believe this is all footage of the demo? Yeah, I know, right? The full game technically does not even exist yet, and it's good. It looks fantastic, the music bangs, there's a bunch of different cars with hella skins, and an A posing placeholder model? Come on. I already think they're nailing the art style. I love the hard outlines on everything, love these like circular whooshing animations for the boosting and spinning. It communicates a real sense of speed very effectively. Even the shadows and the lighting on the cars looks good. And in this game, there's no items. It's all about going fast and making everyone else blow up. No Lakitu in this game, you fucking die. And the charred remains of all the lost pilots crowd the track for the rest of the race. and do damage to you when you hit them. This is the first racing game I've played where it feels like a distinct buff to be starting in last place. Cause you really can just be a bully out of the gate, just shoulder checking and spinning into the pack with relative safety, which conversely adds a lot of suspense to being in first place, especially when you're at low health. Or worse than wiping out, you could also get overtaken and lose by milliseconds. The game is advertised as being easy to play but difficult to master, which is already very evident. When the speedrunners lock in on this one, it's a wrap. Like I said, I got the spin dive pretty fast. But I don't know, I can't make my brain understand how to make my hands do this boost drift consistently. But according to the trailer, you can do it for a long time. The trailer also confirms that if you cross the finish line while you're wiping out, you still finish, which is hilarious attention to detail. It's obvious to anyone paying attention how much love and care is already put into this game, which is why it's already well surpassed its Kickstarter goal in like a week. And yes, I did donate. I think this game already goes crazy, but in a 100% finished state 1.0 launch, it has the potential to even go stupid. So yeah, if you have Steam, play the demo. It's free. Keep this one on your radar. It's slated for 2024. And if I somehow really am the first person to tell you about Vampire Game, then I promise, if it looks even a little fun, I'm sure you will love it. I will link the game's Steam pages in the description, but for now, it's looking like it's time for me to get back to the table and finish my dinner. You all take care.